Welcome to Genomic Medicine session. We want this to be as interactive as possible. Please interrupt, raise your hand. If you have any question, we'll be happy to answer as it comes, and we'll also have a session at the end. I am Dr. Michela Nozeda. I'm the program director. And online with us, we also have Dr. Colopi. She's the senior teaching fellow on the course. You will see if you join our course how much she does and how brilliant she is, as well as Nicole Yao. She's our education administrator and a fantastic administrator. Luke Alsop is our deputy director who's couldn't be here today. So I will just start to tell you that our university, Imperial, you know how well it ranks over in the world as one of the best universities in the world, second to MIT for certain criteria. And we are located mostly in West London, completely in West London. The teaching of genomic medicine occurs in what is called the West Tech Corridor. This is an innovation ecosystem in West London, and Imperial is the core of it. As you can see, we have teaching in South Kensington and the Brompton, as well as in Charing Cross Hospital, and here in between White City and Hammersmith Hospital campus. So all very interesting areas, the classic South Kensington near the Natural History Museum and the Science Museum, all the way to the new upcoming and developing modern area of White City. Let's go to the next slide. So what is genomic medicine? Genomics, let's start with genomics, is the basis to understand individuals, organisms, tissues, and cells. The DNA encodes what we are. So it's a fundamental aspect of our being healthy and developing diseases. Indeed, genomic medicine helps us looking at an individual's genome to guide medical decisions. We can study now the complete DNA of an individual, where we can then understand if there are variants, meaning some changes in the basis of the DNA, which might predict a high risk of disease. Some of these variants are called pathogenic. It means they are likely associated or can be a cause of a disease. And now there is an evolution that from genomics and a number of techniques that allow us to look also at all the genes that are activated, how the DNA is modified, what proteins are produced based on the gene expression, what metabolites are expressed. That means we have new technologies that we call as a whole as multi-omics. And the course is, of course, keeping up and being at the leading edge of the development of these new technologies. So going, as I said, from DNA all the way to metabolites, cells, and we reconstruct this way the mechanisms that guide cellular, tissue, and organism function. So, as I said, one of the first outcomes of studying genomic medicine is to be able to examine the risk of developing diseases. What you see here, for example, BRCA2 is a gene that predicts the risk of developing breast cancer. And we can study mutations of these and understand if an individual has a higher risk of developing breast cancer. So overall, genomic medicine aims to tailor prevention, to improve diagnosis and treatment strategies based on the genetic makeup This really is the core of personalized medicine. What is personalized medicine? Is a medicine that that sees the individual as such and doesn't apply medicine just blindly, but based on the genetic makeup and other characterization, deep phenotyping of patients, which in the end will help us to inform what are the best treatment options for each individual. So as I repeat, genomics is at the basis of biology, of understanding mechanisms, and is has direct link to medicine and how to develop new therapeutic strategies. So as I said, what are the goals of genomics? And I also add multi-omics medicine because of all the new technologies that allow us to study not just the DNA, but as we mentioned, all the subsequent mechanisms that help. So there are 5 key goals. Using genomics and multi-omics to understand health and disease. These technologies have have improved their resolution so that we can look at cells one at a time. We can look at subcellular resolution, so we have a very good and improved understanding of how diseases are developing. These technologies help us improving diagnosis, and what we want to do is make a diagnosis earlier and earlier. So if we have an earlier detection, then we can prevent and intercept the development of the disease. Personalizing treatments is essential to maximize the benefit and reduce the side effects to the patient. Predicting disease risk and enabling prevention strategies is fundamental for the individual, but also for the healthcare system and for the government who want to, of course, save money. It will cost less to prevent a disease than curing a disease. And what we want to do is really driving the development of targeted therapies and precision medicine, which precision medicine is a broad term that is used to develop, to define strategies that stratify patients in groups and can target specific cells or tissues or organs. An important aspect that we cover within our course is the challenges and ethical considerations. If we think of the DNA as a almost can be seen as an identity card of a certain individual, we need to be able and understand the data privacy and security that needs to be applied in protecting genomic data and ensuring patient confidentiality with any patient-related data. We need to make sure that genomic medicine is accessible to everyone, that there are no disparities in these. And we also need to learn, or better, you will learn as a student, how informed consent and genetic counseling can work. So it's also important to learn how to communicate potential risks and benefits. And communication of science across scientists, across colleagues, and also to patients is a key element that you learn. What are the future directions of genomic medicine? First of all, is integration of genomics, so the study of the DNA with multi-omics. Multi-omics, I repeat it because it's a new concept, are those technologies that allow us to look at the RNA expression, so the gene expression, the protein expression, the metabolites expression, and so on. So genomics is starting to be used in healthcare, by the healthcare system. What we want you to learn, what are the cutting edge technologies that will be in the next phase of introduction in the healthcare. Advances in sequencing technologies, data science, and AI are pillars of genomic and multiomics medicine. And how do the genetic traits relate to disease biology is a big area of development. We need better models for human disease. And you might have heard about organoids and IPS, induced pluripotent stem cells-derived cells, that are all in a new area of science that is used to validate and understand the functional effects of certain mutations or pathogenic variants found within the DNA. And next areas of directions will include how do we apply these to develop new diagnostic therapeutic approaches and for prevention. All of this needs to be done keeping in mind the ethics, how society changes, how data governance changes, and how we can access and share data. Now, let's give a practical example of how genomics can impact everyone. You don't just have genomics used by doctors or clinicians to do diagnosis, but genomics is now reaching everyone. Does anyone know what DTC stands for? DTC genetic testing. Have you ever heard? Anyone would like to raise your hand and tell us what DTC genetic testing is? Yes, I can see. Raya, would you like to tell us?
Yeah, is it we were taking it actually in like a lecture a few days ago. Is it like direct to consumer testing where it's tailored to like specific people in general?
Yes, that's fantastic, Raya. Exactly. DTC is direct to consumer genetic testing. What does it mean? These are genetic tests that are marketed directly to the consumer. You can receive by mail the kit with the swab, a bit like we were doing for COVID. You can swab inside your mouth, you send it back to the company via, again, post, and they will give you back your results, your DNA, usually through a secure online portal. Companies that are well known are like 23andMe, Ancestry DNA, MyHeritage, and the aim for doing this can be broad. The use of this DTC testing has massively increased in the last few years. You can see from 2013, this graph goes only to 2019. You can see the millions of people using these tests. Now, this can be fun, can be very interesting, but sometimes some more difficult informations are embedded into these results. Has anyone seen this movie, Our Father? Anyone wants to raise their hand if they watched it? I can't see any hands up. So it's an interesting movie. So this is the story of an American fertility doctor, and he has, practiced medicine in an unethical way, as he inseminated hundreds of patients with his own sperm. and it was caught out through 23andMe and other DTC testing services when his children, his offspring, found that they were related to thousands of people, and it all came out. Of course, this is a impact, not only emotional, but also on risk factors and so on. So this is really an extreme case, but it shows you how genetics can impact everyone's daily life. So now, after this broad overview of why studying genomics medicine is important, I will pass the word to Laura, our senior teaching fellow, who will give you some details about the course. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I'll
So,
go to next slide. Yep.
I think I can do the slides. So
okay, that's great.
I don't know how I've managed it, but I've got control. So yeah, I'll just talk about some of the key aspects of the course. I said I could do it, and I actually don't. I don't have control over the animation. Okay. I can move to the next slide. I can't do anything else.
Oops, sorry. Okay. Can you see this slide, Laura?
I can't click to make the animations work.
So, but now I think I've added everything.
Oh, that's worked for me now. Sorry. Sorry, yes. So the features of our MSc, that's what I'm going to have a chat to you about now, and some of the frequently asked questions to give you a bit of an understanding of what genomic medicine is like at Imperial. So you, of course, have interaction with world-renowned researchers. So this is a key benefit of studying at Imperial, is that we are at the forefront of genomic research, and the lecturers that come and the teachers that come and work on the course are truly the experts in the field who are conducting the research and working in this area, and it's paving the way for the future. And you will have interaction with those people, which is truly unique to Imperial. We have a blended teaching format, which I will talk about a bit more in a moment. But that means you're not sat listening to lectures the whole time. You have different approaches are used to teaching, where you do some work remotely by yourself or in groups, and then you come to class, and we have lectures, we have workshops, debates, journal clubs, and all sorts of different teaching methods to try and make the course as engaging as possible. We try to be flexible, and you have full-time and part-time study options depending on what suits you. And we have two really exciting partnerships with Surrey University and with the Institute of Cancer Research. So the module on cancer genomics is run by the ICR, and we have a partner at Surrey University who runs an economics and genomics module. And my personal favourite thing about the course is the diverse background of all of the students and of the academics that are teaching on the course. They all come from different backgrounds with different ambitions, and it makes for really interesting discussions and a really fun place and a really fun community to be a part of. So those are some key features of the MSc. Now, if you're going to do the MSc, the full masters, that involves 8 modules, 8 taught modules, plus a 3-month research project. However, you don't have to do a full MSc. You can complete 4 modules and get what is known as a PG cert, a postgraduate certificate qualification, or you can do a postgraduate diploma, which is 8 modules. Most people do the masters, the full masters. Some people don't want to, or some people, if, for example, you didn't want to do the project, or you had, I mean, this doesn't happen often, but if you failed modules and didn't want to continue, it's nice to know, even though it doesn't happen often, it's nice to know that there is a backup where you can exit early with a qualification. All is not lost. Although I stress that doesn't happen often. Most people do successfully complete their full MSc if they want to. Right, so the course is structured. so that each module runs for 1 month. We don't have modules running all at the same time with lectures every week. We have one module focused at a time, and then it kind of feeds into the next one, so you gradually build your knowledge. The first is the fundamentals module, which everybody does at the same time. And then if you're part-time, you might then come back in January for bioinformatics, for example, or then you might do the modules in a different order. However, they run in this sequence where we study the genomics of common and rare inherited disease. Then there's omics technologies, bioinformatics. So you learn all about how DNA is sequenced, and then how that data is then handled and analyzed. We have the cancer genomics module, which is just run in February. And then, which is where we're up to in the current year, we have the first elective module. And then that's followed by a second elective module in April. Now, next year, this is going to look slightly different. We have 2 current students on the call who won't necessarily know this, but next year we're going to be having an artificial intelligence in genomic medicine module, which is brand new, because we pride ourselves on keeping up to date with the most relevant information in genomics. And as I'm sure you're aware, AI is a big thing at the moment. So we're introducing that as a new elective module next year. So for each module, they run for the month. In the first week, you conduct e-learning at home. You can do this in a group. You can do this at the library with friends, but it involves self-study that is you're in control of. And then this is followed by 1 week of in-person teaching. And then that in-person teaching, you bring the knowledge you've got in week 1, and we have these big discussions. You have more lectures, and we have lots of group activities to try and delve a bit deeper into the material that you've been learning, and try and make it as interactive and engaging as possible. And then at the end of each module, you submit an assessment, which is a written assessment, and then it's done. You don't have any exams at the end of the year. It's all written assessments that you submit throughout the year. These are generally kind of case study based. Some are short answer questions. In the infectious diseases module in May, you submit a poster, and we give you lots of experience presenting and discussing data throughout the modules to help you prepare for your assessments. So that's kind of how the course runs throughout the year. For the entry requirements, we say that the minimum requirement is a 2:1 degree, or the equivalent of an international qualification. But this very much depends on the individual student, because there have been students in the past who haven't met this threshold, but they have great motivation and great knowledge of genomics already, and an exception has been made, and they may have come with a 2:2 or a lower degree. So please bear that in mind when you're writing your application. What we really care about is your motivation for studying genomic medicine. So when you write your application and you write your personal statement, it's your enthusiasm that we really look for, and what your future aims are, and that matters more to us than what you got in your first degree. So when you apply, your application is submitted through the college admission system. This then gets reviewed by the admissions team for very basic requirements. They check, for example, that you're over 18 and that you have an undergraduate degree already. And when all of those boxes are ticked, we get to have a look at the applications, and the genomic medicine team select the best applicants to invite for interview. And then you will have an interview that lasts about 20 minutes. Often with myself and Michaela, and sometimes it's with our deputy lead, Luke, or one of the other module leads. And this is quite an informal interview where we just ask you some questions to get to know you, and you'll be given a paper to read in advance that we will discuss. But it's usually a very nice interview where we just kind of discuss what interests you and what your opinions are on the paper. It's not too difficult or intimidating, I hope. And then hopefully you find out within a week. I think the admission system should inform you within a week what the outcome is, but the genomic medicine team can inform you sooner than that if there's a delay with the admission system. So if you apply, you should know quite quickly what the outcome is. So we often get asked what self-directed learning entails. So for each module, you have about 30 hours of course material that you need to complete in your own time. So some of this it might be online lectures that you get to review, which is nice because it means you get to pause them and go away and stop and write notes. It's much easier to watch an online lecture, I think, than in person, because you can control that in your own time and go at your own pace. But you also get lots of other things like interactive courses, quizzes, some reading to do, and you can do this remotely on campus. And as I said, many students work in the library with friends. But what's important is that you complete your week 1 content for each module before you come to the in-person teaching. But this is all very clearly laid out for you in the module instructions. When you start the course in October, you get to hear a bit more about the course, and you can choose your elective modules, usually around November time. And you can take one from each group. So one is in March and one is in April. You can't mix up and select 2 from the same group, for example. And if you complete the full MSc or the PG dip. If you're doing the PG cert, which is only 4 modules in total, you have to take the fundamentals module because it's a core module, and then you pick 3 others. And as I mentioned before, if you're a part-time student, you might take the modules in a different order to what is shown on that diagram. When you complete, if you're completing the full masters, you do a research project at the end of the year, and 80% of that is from the mark comes from a written dissertation of 7,000 words, and 20% is an oral presentation. And it's actually quite a nice way to end the course, because we have a presentation day where all the students come together and present to each other, and then that marks the end of their MSc, and usually a nice celebratory drink or meal afterwards. And you're welcome to carry out a project essentially anywhere as long as it's relevant to genomic medicine. It could be within the NHLI, within somewhere else at Imperial, or within industry, and it can even be in another country if you find a lab that is willing to support your project. They can be wet lab projects. Here's just an example title of one about microbial metabolites, but they can also be dry lab, literature-based. And these are just 2 example titles to show you the breadth of what students have studied in the past. So for example, this dry lab project was looking at mutation screening for inherited bone marrow failure syndromes, compared to this one, which was a survey of healthcare professionals. So some are very qualitative, some are very quantitative. It completely depends on what interests you. And we help you how we can to try and secure a project in a field that you are interested in. Another question we often get asked is, what do our students go on to do? So this is Natalie, who was a student a couple of years ago, and she's currently on the STP, the Scientist Training Program. So this is one popular choice for our students. Many people want to get onto the STP, which is a very competitive program, but a degree, an MSc in genomic medicine from Imperial, will really help you along the way. And Natalie wants to become a genetic counsellor. So this is a scientist training program to help you become a clinical scientist, and there's a direct pathway to becoming a genetic counsellor involved, which is a key interest for many of our students. Another, or probably the main thing students want to do, is go on to do a PhD. And you have the opportunity to meet PIs and to do your 3-month research project and meet people working in research, and that will help you or possibly help you get a foot in the door for finding a PhD position. Now, another student on a couple of slides ago, John, he is currently doing a PhD in the lab where he completed his 3-month project. Now, this isn't guaranteed, but it certainly can be an option. And you will meet lots of people who will give you lectures and give you talks and sessions that you find interesting, and there's always opportunities to go up to them and say, I'm really interested in this. Can I do a project with you? Do you have space for a PhD student in your lab? And you get exposure to all of that by doing the genomic medicine course at Imperial. And we also have strong industry connections if you're interested in working in industry, which is another pathway that students often go down. And there's also, for those interested in business and want to advance their entrepreneurial skills, there are like workshops and these hackathons that are involved that are available to you to help you if that is the pathway that you are interested in. So these are kind of the main things that students want to do, but we also have a lot of clinicians on the course who go back to their clinical work with new knowledge, and some people that are purely getting the genomic medicine degree just because it's an area that they're interested in. It completely depends on the individual, but these are kind of the key things that people often are interested in. Nearly towards the end now. So there is a lot of support available to you at Imperial. Because we are a small team in genomic medicine, you'll get to know Nicole and Michaela and myself quite well. So we are always available for drop-ins as you need, and for meetings if you need extra support or you want a chat. We are very nice. So we hope you get to know us quite well so you can call on us if you need anything. You'll also have a tutor who is not connected to the programme, who can offer support. And there is wider college support for anybody who needs it with mental health, for example. There's the Disability Advisory Service, Careers Service, and we have a senior tutor as well who can often point you in the right direction for the source of support that is right for you. And here are some links that are relevant for tuition fee queries. There's an email address that you can contact, and you can request to pay in installments, for example. And there's some links that we'll just leave here for you to refer to if you need it. Another thing people ask a lot about is the scholarships. There are other scholarships that you may identify yourself, but there are 3 key scholarships that we are aware of that are available to genomic medicine students. So the first is a Faculty of Medicine scholarship. I think are there 10? I'm not sure if Michaela or Nicole are aware. I think there are 10 £10,000 awards for the Faculty of Medicine for students on master's programmes. And you can be a home or overseas student for this, but you can get £10,000 towards your tuition fees. And then for the NHLI, there's a £5,000 contribution towards tuition fees for genomic medicine students, if you're enrolled on the full MSc in both cases. So there is information about how to apply to these, but you just answer a few short questions and it goes alongside your application if you're interested. And then we review those. We review everybody that has applied. Thank you, Nicole's put something in the chat. We review those who have applied for the scholarships, and the most eligible person then will be offered. And the last is the India Future Leader Scholarship, which is available for people from India, and that's a £10,000 award. So everyone suitable for that will be shortlisted and could potentially get £10,000 towards their fees. Now, in a couple of weeks, we are making a new information video. But if anybody is currently interested in hearing more about the course, this video is with Professor Michael Lovett, who is the former director of the course, who's now retired. But this is on our website, and he answers some frequently asked questions on this video. I think we've generally covered what's relevant in the course now, but we will be making a new video that you may wish to look out for. But just to let you know that that is on our website. Oops, I didn't mean to play it. There we go. So I would encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn and on Instagram. We post things relevant to genomic medicine. That could be a new paper that's published that's interesting, but also things about our students and about the course, and lots of interesting information. So I would encourage you to follow here and stay in touch. And the last thing I want to mention, aside from, has it moved across on yours? Can you see the last slide? Because mine's frozen.
Yes, we can see the students.
There we go. It's worked for mine now. I was going to say the last thing to mention is that this is the last lecture in December of our students, and we have a buffet lunch at Christmas, and you all get free genomic medicine t-shirts. So if what I've said so far hasn't convinced you that genomic medicine is a great course to apply for, please look at these smiling faces and free t-shirts, and yeah, that is all. Thank you for listening. And we will take questions, and I think we had some pre-posted questions. But I wonder if we could hand over now to Leah and Daphne, who are our student reps who've joined, who could perhaps tell us, or if you're willing to, maybe tell us what your favourite things about the course are, or any tips for students applying or interested.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just brief introduction of myself. I'm Leah, and I'm currently a student rep on MSc Genomic Medicine program, and I'd like to share something I really like about the course. So the one thing I really like is about the broad range of modules it offers. We learn everything from basic genomics to coding skills in bioinformatics. And also one of the upcoming modules I will take is the economic evaluation of the genomic medicine. And these courses together gives us a very, I would say, comprehensive perspective on how genomics is currently used in both clinical settings and industries. And another aspect I really appreciate is the opportunity to shape our individual research project if you are doing an MSc. And this is what we are doing right now. And we are encouraged to contact researchers ourselves and explore potential projects. I think this experience is really valuable because, especially for students who may want to do a PhD in the future, because the process of finding a supervisor and discussing the project details is quite similar, I would say. And if you want to do an industry, if you want to go into industry, you can also like doing a project in the industry in your company. So that's quite free to shape what you want to do in the future. And finally, I also really like the combination of online learning and in-person teaching. So usually the first week of each module is the online learning, as we have talked before. And this gives us a chance to preview some of the materials and read some papers about these modules. And then in the second week, when we're having the in-person lectures, we could have a much more deeper discussions with the lecturers. And I think this format also helps with the work-life balance a lot because you got the chance to enjoy the life in London if you're international students. So that's all I want to share, the facts that I really like about this program. And I'm happy to take any questions. And also I'm going to hand over to Dev, which is another student rep, if she has some more details.
Hi guys, so I'm Daphne, thank you Leah for that. Before this course, I studied biochemistry at King's, and I wanted to do this course to specialize in genetics because I believe that it underpins so much of biomedical research. And I feel like this course really has helped to strengthen my understanding of genetics, so I can apply it in any context I want to. And I've noticed during my undergrad that a lot of research and clinical practice is increasingly using multi-omic technologies. So I wanted to choose a course that will give me training in omic technologies and also that would teach me how to use bioinformatics and programming to actually choose how I want to analyze my data, especially because I want to work in a research setting. And I feel like we've recently done the bioinformatics module, and I feel like I did learn this, so I'm very happy about that. I'm not sure they teach that in all masters. And another aspect of the course I like is how interdisciplinary it is. So the course is designed to have a range of healthcare professionals and researchers teach. And it's actually made me realize that I really want to pursue a PhD because I've been able to see both the research and the clinical side of genomic medicine. And I wasn't sure before I started the course, so this was really helpful in choosing what I want to do. And another thing I wanted to mention is how open to feedback the course really is. We have a cohort a cohort size that allows us to give feedback directly in lectures or after if we want to stay anonymous. And I feel like the course leads genuinely respond to the feedback. which didn't happen in my undergrad. So I'm also grateful about that. And a quick word on scholarships, as Laura was mentioning this, I wanted to say that each one has different deadlines, and the best thing to do is look on the link, because there are more that you might be eligible for based on your nationality. So it's not just the ones that have been shown, so make sure you do that. And yeah, I hope this helps you to make a decision on whether the master's would be right for you.
Thank you so much. So we'll hand over to you now. Do you have any questions that we can help you with? Please feel free to put your hand up or type anything in the chat if you're shy. Millie, yes.
Hi, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions about like the application deadline. Because I'm at Imperial already, and like there's so many different courses along similar lines that have really different like application deadlines and rounds, and I couldn't find anything on the course website about that. So I just wanted to double check in case there was a timeline or.
Yeah, there isn't one. You are able to apply, especially if you're a home student, you're able to apply. We still get some in August. And if they are a great student that is, it's looking good, then, you can still get a place late in the year. If you're an international student, the only deadline is ensuring that you can have a visa sorted in time for joining the course. So we don't have a strict deadline. And I actually think somebody recently was given, somebody informed me that they had an email saying that there was a deadline in mid-March. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but that's completely incorrect. And I hope that's not a widespread email that people received, and there was just confusion, because no, there isn't a deadline. You can apply when you're ready.
I think that was about when you apply, like you can put two at once, and one of them can be a business school one, and it was the business school one that had the deadline in like the 11th of March or something. But
I see. Okay.
Thank you. That's helpful.
No worries. Now, I think there might have been some questions posted previously that I will just go and track to see if there's anything we haven't answered already.
Can't see anything in the meeting chat.
So somebody said a class is mainly held at Brompton. I think Michaela's answered this. They are often held at the Brompton campus, but also the main South Kensington campus and sometimes in the Hammersmith campus. But you're generally in the Brompton and South Kensington area. And what further opportunities follow the completion of this program, I think I've answered. And are there fully funded PhD opportunities in genomics at Imperial? Do you want to take that question, Michaela?
Sorry, no, I couldn't. I was distracted trying to find where the questions were, because I can't see them.
I'm looking at the ones Nicole shared with us. They said,
Yeah.
Are there fully funded PhD opportunities in genomics at Imperial?
Yes. I mean, there are, so we have a number of 2 programs now that they've been just funded. This hasn't been officially announced by the British Heart Foundation, but I'm co-director of a new program. It's called the BHF, British Heart Foundation DTP. DTP is a doctoral training program in partnership with Cambridge and Edinburgh and Oxford. And we have 5 positions there for the next 4 years. And then Fu Enger, a clinical cardiologist with other colleagues, they are leading another BHF DTP, which is Imperial and Oxford led. And in both of these, there will likely be some genomic medicine based projects. So those include fully funded, salary, fees, and consumables for your projects. So these are the freshest ones, and we are advertising now. So it's more relevant probably for people that are finishing their MSc, but we also take students with a BSc. And then there are other opportunities. There is a President Award. So there is a Imperial So they're not specific for genomic medicine, but you can engage with PIs that do genomic medicine projects, and then these are available and advertising. You can also contact people, and then you can apply for a specific funding and to develop a specific project. So there's a lot of opportunities for that.
Okay,
Does
somebody's
that
asked.
answer? Yeah.
Sorry. There's another question. How to collaborate as an independent but worthy researcher from an underprivileged community?
How to collaborate?
Collaborate. I'm not sure what they mean by collaborate. If anyone asked that who's in the audience, maybe you can explain further. But I hope we've kind of answered in the talk so far about all the opportunities that you have to network and to meet researchers and work with different groups and in industry. So there is plenty of opportunity regardless of your background.
Yeah, it might be from a point of view of the scholarship fundings. Nicole has put the link with all the opportunities in addition to what Laura has said. If it's a matter of extending and involving more people in research, you can develop a project targeting underserved populations. Last year, one student in the MSc had a project exactly looking at that. So it depends what the question is really want to focus on, but there are plenty of opportunities. And once you are into the program, there's no difference. Everyone is collaborating with everyone.
Yeah, if that doesn't answer the question, then or if somebody's watching this back and wants to ask something again, then please feel free to just email and we can clarify. Raya?
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to ask, because I'm interested from like a diagnostic point of view for this course, are we gonna have some lectures or some information on, like, are we gonna be able to interact with patients maybe that have a certain like condition that maybe we could like get more information about, or like from like a clinical point of view, like from that?
So throughout the course, in most modules, I think all modules, you will have case studies. So they're not patients directly. In most of the courses, you'll have case studies and lots of scenarios, and you have real genomic data that you will get to look at and analyze, and you answer questions about these case studies in your assignments and so on. So it puts it in like a very real world context. In the genomics and the patient module, which is elective A, that's currently running. Daphne and Leah, I don't know if you're doing this module, but if you are, no, Leah, are you doing this one? No. So it's only just started running anyway, so they haven't had any of the in-person teaching, but they may have been able to offer some insight. But that module usually gets speakers in, because it's about genomics and the patient, you get families in, people that have had children, for example, that have suffered with a genomic disease, and people that have had to work with genetic counselors and so on. You get lots of interaction in that module, and there are often opportunities that the module lead, who's Claire Shovelin, she often offers students the opportunity, if they're particularly interested, to do some clinic time with her. This is outside of the course, but it's an opportunity that you can be presented with if you are proactive about seeking the opportunity. But she has done some clinic time with the students before, so they get to meet patients as well. So you do get some opportunity within that module, but it also provides further opportunity if you liaise with the module lead about your interests.
Yeah, it like makes sense. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, just a really quick question. I saw the link about the scholarship you sent in the chat box, and actually I couldn't open that. It turns out like for not found.
Which one? Is it the More on Scholarships one?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay, let's have a look. You're right, it says it's not found, so we will find the correct link. I'm not sure what's happened there. Maybe I'll paste the ones in from the slides so that you can access those directly.
Yeah, thank you. And
No
another
worries.
question is about the selectives. You said
Mhm.
we should make the choice in the November, and like, would you allow for like the change before
Yeah.
April? Or, yeah.
Yeah, we ask in November and people more or less stick. But if you choose later on to change, as long as there's space in the rooms that are booked, then it's fine. The reason we ask early is so that the rooms can be booked for teaching, so we know what capacity is needed. But there's generally space for people to swap and change if their interests change, so that's not normally an issue.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Let's see if that one works. That's great. Thank you so much, Leah, for adding that. Can we help with any other questions?
Nope. So maybe we can stop here, but if you have any other queries, please reach out and we'll be happy to clarify any doubts.